Well, new week, back to work. Like a typical Monday, just recapping what we saw on the film Sunday. Was one, a good football team in Utah. Offensively, they made it difficult. Attacked us pretty good with some pressure. Wasn't able to, really set our feet at quarterback a lot of times, and didn't get a lot of things done. Defensively, made some explosive players. They got players that made explosive plays. I mean, threw the ball accurately, one-on-one. We didn't win those one-on-ones. Didn't tackle real well. I mean, they had really 8 plays that accounted for over half their yards. So it was explosive and whatnot. I was pleased with the guys yesterday in practice, bouncing back. I thought our energy was good. It's kind of like what we do typically on a Sunday. Learn and try to improve from the previous game and go back to work. And it felt great. Weather was awesome, and these guys were going. And so, big game planning day today. Against another good opponent. I mean, Cal plays some real defense. I'm just so impressed with what Justin's been able to do, getting into year 3 here, especially on that defensive side. Got some really veteran players, got some length, caused some problems. But I know our guys are excited about this opportunity, headed down, again, part of California. We've got a few players from this area. A lot of family and friends will be showing up. 11:30 kickoff, I think guys are excited about. Another opportunity to go compete.
You're not 45 points worse than Utah. I've watched you enough to know that.
Yeah.
You have to conclude that perhaps you guys just don't know how to deal with success yet. Is that fair to say?
I don't know, because we haven't had enough success for examples to do it. I don't think it was any kind of getting casual or overconfident. I don't even kind of think we're overconfident. I think we ran into a really good team that exposed some lack of detail in our game, the fundamentals. I mean, we had to really play precise in everything we were asking the guys to do, and we weren't in a lot of regards, and they exposed us on that.
I know you can't talk specifics about this, but any weekend you're at home, you're going to have any number of recruits here. What do you say to recruits when you lose by that sort of score? When they're on campus, what do you say? You're
right. We had a good number, and which was awesome because, again, the start of the game, I thought our crowd had some real energy to it, and they could feel that. Obviously, the game was not what we wanted, but anytime you get to be able to get face-to-face around this beautiful place, I think it's an advantage to us, and we had a good number of kids here. Next day, conversations. Again, it's all about the opportunity they have here and what we can do for them here, and I think they saw it, and we felt really good about it. Really good about having them on campus. Yeah, not about the game.
You kind of touched a little bit on it. Obviously, a really good football team in Utah. Looking back, was it what they did to take you guys out? Was it a scheme thing, or was it just the personnel that they had, or a combination? But what did you kind of see looking back at how they were able to kind of execute so well and put up so many points?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of what you say. It was a personnel thing. They got some good players on both sides. I do think, especially on the defensive side, they came out and attacked, pressured the quarterback, played some tight coverage that, we couldn't get them protected well enough to take advantage of that. So it was both some scheme and some personnel.
Couple of defensive questions from that game. You guys have. It's been pretty much a trademark of your team. You guys play hard through the end. On the defense side, did you feel like the effort was there the entire game?
I did, because the second half, the game's out of hand. They were eating some clock, still running the ball, and we were still making them kind of earn it in the run game. We're still flying around. We had a couple tackles for loss in the second half, so I did feel like we did.
And then the tackling has been better this year. I mean, that's pretty fair to say. But it seemed like it took a step back Saturday. Was that because they are so physical, or did you guys start to fall back into some sloppy habits?
I think some of both, to be honest with you. I do think they're physical. I mean, that back who goes 90 yards is a good player. He's been doing it for a while. But we had opportunities to get him down. We got an unblocked player. We don't make the tackle. And then we're in man coverage. Receiver comes and gets the safety. Well, the corner's chasing him, and there you go. So we got to clean some stuff up and at the same time give them some credit.
You talked about it a little bit Saturday night, the kicking game. I know you guys have struggled there. What do you guys need to do? I mean, I know some of it's mental or whatever. Just what do you reapproach kind of what you're looking at out of those guys? I know you said the competition is there, but how difficult has that been even for you to know that those guys haven't been able to convert and how that, what you guys were able to do to try to get closer and get some points on the board.
Yeah, it's obviously when we ask them, we put them out there, we ask them to kick it through the uprights, and so I'm opening it up for competition this week, and we feel like that's one way to create some competition to get the best output on Saturday. We're still going to attempt some kicks. I mean, some of these down and distances is like, we're going to take some kicks, and I expect us to get better. I really do.
You mentioned practice yesterday. Did you get a feeling after the game is there any concern of losing the kids, quote unquote,
Right.
to a loss like that?
Not a concern. Obviously, we're focused on how these guys are doing each and every day. But again, I wasn't overly concerned. We had a team meeting about 3 tomorrow, talked about it, owned it, talk about owning it. I mean, the reality is it's what's on tape, and we got to own that. We got to learn from it. And then I thought the coaches did a great job with their specific groups of just talking it through, showing them how we can improve on this thing. And it showed up at practice that day. I thought the energy came out. We do some periods of just really cleaning up and correcting. Guys were focused, locked in. So not overly concerned that we've lost them.
And follow up on the kicker, I think you got 4 on the roster right now. Is it just totally open between the 4?
Not totally. No, it'll be Jordan and Everett.
It's Jordan and Everett. In regards to Jamar, is it possible you might sit him Saturday, you got a bye week, and then get him nice and healthy for the 5 games in November, or how do you?
Yeah, we've looked into that, and we're going to make a call later in the week. We'll kind of see how he goes. We're not planning on trying to redshirt this guy, but if he's close to 100%, we'd like him to go this week. But we'll make that call, and then there would be the benefit if he does not play of the bye, like you're saying.
Obviously, you face another really good defense. You talked about it in the opening there. Just for your offense, kind of how much they struggled confidence-wise. What do you try to do to kind of maybe reinstill a little bit of that and say, hey, look, here we go. That was one game. I know these guys are just as good or right up there. How do you kind of get those guys ready to go out there and perform better than what they did on Saturday?
Right. Well, you talk about a little bit of this. They run a little bit different scheme that you're playing. I think you remind them of some of the production we've had in the first 5 games. And these guys got to choose to respond to it, coaches included. I mean, we can't just be hanging our heads. And so I don't think we're going to come out and be worried about like one game, we didn't have a great performance, and just keep on dwelling on it. Focus on the task at hand. This is a good opponent, and we're going to have to play well to move the ball and score, but we're capable of doing that.
We're now at the midway point. Trayvon, redshirt?
Yeah. Yep. Planning on that. I think he'll play some this year, but at this point, probably just in 4 games.
So he's still not really practicing?
He's lightly, but he's not been cleared.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is possible he'll play, but no more than 4 games.
Right.
Has he said he would like to? I mean, has he said he wants to come back for another year? Or do you know?
Yeah, we've had conversations. We were hopeful he could play this year, and he just hasn't gotten to the point where he's cleared yet. And so, getting halfway through it, he doesn't want to just play in 5 games and call it good.
So he'd be willing to come back. That's what I guess what I was asking. Some guys.
Yeah, to my understanding, yep.
A couple other guys. Eldridge, is he still same? Nothing more.
He didn't do much yesterday. We'll see how it progresses. We're hopeful it'll progress, but at this point, I think 50-50.
And then Tago.
Yeah, yep. There's a chance, I think, this weekend. Again, he didn't do much yesterday. We'll kind of see how he looks on Wednesday and Thursday.
And everybody else came out okay on Sunday?
Yeah, nothing long term. I think typical bumps and bruises, but I'm trying to think. Nothing long term.
Evan Weaver, have you seen a guy like him in the first 6 games?
I mean, he's been doing it for a while. That guy, instinctive around the ball, physical tackler, he's good hands, does a good job, recognizing where the quarterback's looking at and getting in passing lanes, besides the fact that he can just tackle all over the place. So he's a guy who presents some real problems.
What about Cal? Why are they so good defensively? What are their schemes? What do they do? And maybe some of their personnel.
Yeah, I think the scheme has been solid for a long time. Justin's been doing it for really well for a long time. So they'll mix their schemes. They like to pressure, and they feel good about that back end because those guys can cover, and so that creates some problems. They've got a blitz package that is really sound and tough to always recognize. They do a great job in their disguise on what's coming. And that's shown up for a while on tape.
Now, offensively, what do they like to do? I know people, they struggle offensively, but they're still good. What do they do?
Yeah, they do a good job in the RPO game. They will try to run the ball. I know they've been banged up on that side, especially at the offensive line. Quarterback's been banged up. They've had some guys in and out of the lineup, which does not help. I got a ton of respect for that offensive staff over there. Baldwin's he knows how to coach some offense. So we know those guys will present a problem, especially coming off a bye week. I mean, some of these guys come back, they get some time to tighten some details up, and they'll be a challenge.
Now that Trayvon isn't coming back, you really need to get a second receiver going. Where do you think that's going right now? Is anybody in your mind?
It's a little bit by committee, because, Tyjon has a nice catch. Colby's done a couple of things. Champ's had a game. Noah's caught a few balls. I don't know if we're trending toward, obviously we got Hodge going, and then there's going to be the next guy. It's going to be that kind of committee of guys.
Why hasn't Josiah been able to get on the field?
He got himself banged up a little bit, and so he missed a couple of games. He was a little bit throughout camp, kind of Hodge's backup role, and then moving him to some different spots. We're not down on Hodge. Champ, Tyjon, Colby playing just a little bit better so far.
You better not be down on Hodge.
No. Oh, Hodge. Well, you know what I'm saying. On Irish.
Oh, I forgot to ask about Roberts. Do you think he'll be back this week?
Counting on it, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Cal coming off a bye, Utah was coming off a bye. How much of an advantage is that? I mean, is it mostly just the health stuff, or is it at this, you're going to be going into one just toward the middle part of the season that you
Right.
can readjust them? Is there some advantage to having that bye?
I think-
there, and how tough is it to come and play a team that's coming off one? This is
Right.
the second week in a row.
Yeah, I think you definitely can get the body's feeling better. You can work on some things or in your scheme or fundamentals. You can implement maybe something new because you got a little bit more time. But at the same time, some guys are in a nice rhythm. They just want to keep playing on the weekends. So, it's some advantages, some disadvantages.
Coach, you talked about Hodgins a little bit there. What's it like for you as a coach having a guy who's just been so productive week in and week out?
Yeah, it's been one of my favorite things about him being so productive is he's one of our hardest working guys in practice. And, from a leadership role or one of our best players to be the guy that's always out there first / last one off the field, always going. I think it's a great example for our team. And he deserves it. This guy's worked really hard. He's a great kid. He's never asking for more balls. He's not a selfish guy at all. And he's getting the most out of a really great skill set he has.
Speaking of Hodgins, there was a point, I think it was 28-0, but you started to string together some first downs and some positive plays. Even if you don't win, you still end on a positive note. It might have even still been first half.
Yeah.
Well, it was first half. At what point was it the tip and then the interception return? Because it seemed like right before that things were going better.
On that, drive, we get on their side of the 50, and we got the tip that goes for a touchdown. Even before that, we got the ball on the 19-yard line. It's 1st and 10. We went backwards and we missed a kick. So, when you don't score any points, that's a problem offensively, and it's all about finishing offensively. But we did have some positive plays. It wasn't just all 3 and out and you're done. We did have some times where we moved the ball.
Anything else, Coach?
Okay.